Christian for KaijuPop.com, and welcome to a quick video of Tengami from Nyam Nyam Games, who are a sort of cross-continental, intercontinental bunch, living in the UK and here in Japan, although separate from where Kaiju Pop Towers is, down in Okinawa. Former Rare employees that sort of spun out on their own to do their own thing, and this is their own thing, Tengami. Tengami, the deal with Tengami is that it's about paper. That's probably the gami part of Tengami, or kami anyway. It's kind of about pop-up books, or the art form of kamishibai, as you might know it in Japanese, and yeah, that's the visual gimmick. Everything's about sort of popping things up, turning pages, much like, in a sense, like with Tailray on the Vita. It's about, looking at how things move in on a page, but whereas I think that Tailray was kind of about origami. This is more about just straight up pop-up books and how they work. It's fantastic visual style, and it's something you grasp right away. And so there's kind of, I don't know, you're in control here of this nameless sort of samurai style guy, I suppose, and there's a sort of leitmotif of moving through the seasons and the cycle of life and such is what we're focusing on here. And yeah, it seems like, looking at it on the front part, just here, these branches on the trees and the sakura on the trees represent chapters in the game. And all three of these cherry blossoms sort of fly away at the beginning. This is right at the start of the game. This is my second playthrough, but one remains. I kind of thought for a second that the four branches on the tree, the four sakura, the first time I played, there's going to be 4 chapters in this game, and it actually turns out you start off with one. So that's your sort of hope in life, or your passage to the afterlife, I guess it's kind of about. But yeah, actually there are only 3 chapters, and this game is not long. It's not a long game at all. You'll beat it in a couple of hours. So I'm not really going to try not to spoil too much here. And not give it away. It's really kind of, I guess, the pop-up kind of feel of it as well. It kind of feels like a bedtime story for yourself. And I spoke with the developers back at Tokyo Game Show, and that was the idea they were trying to convey, of kind of something you curl up in bed to, which is nice. The game's largely portrayed without language and without exposition or anything like that. So it kind of feels odd in a way to have these tooltips pop up that say double tap to walk, and occasionally there'll be hints saying, it seems like this is missing. It kind of seems like a stylistic sort of miscue to have that, but maybe that's my own propensities, or my own prejudices going on there. Most of what you're doing here is kind of walking across the scenery, and it's a point-and-click adventure. If the kami part of Tengami is paper, then the gamey part of Tengami is a point-and-click adventure. Its puzzles aren't really about dialogue trees or anything like that. If you're more of a Walking Dead point-and-click guy, no, it's more about kind of observing elements in the environment and reacting to them. So I knock those wind chimes here. The wolf howls, and he knocks a part of the scenery down for me to walk across on. How nice of him. One thing that annoys kind of is a lot of the puzzles in this game are kind of about backtracking and going back and forth across these large spans of this spread. And it's kind of, I understand the logic behind it to an extent. I kind of feel that the idea is, hey, you're supposed to be taking in all of this art, which looks fantastic, or you're supposed to be taking in some of the music, which again is fantastic. I just sort of let it come up from the background there. But yeah, the problem with that is that you are doing lots of stretches of long movement across long pages, and the way you move in Tengami is to double click on an area, and you'll sort of pathfind your way to where you're tapping, and that's really kind of, it gets on your nerves a little bit after a while, because you get the sort of old school point and click adventure style frustration of just kind of, you want him to keep moving. So I mean, for much of the game, I was just, what I'm doing right now is constantly tapping ahead, so he actually again keeps moving. It would have been nice to have a sort of tap and hold kind of functionality here. It's just a little bit, I mean, it's not the movement that's irritating, it's kind of the pace of movement is very, very slow. It's a very, very slow paced game, but I just got up here, that wolf, he's screwed it all up for me. Well, if I fold that back, he's gonna prowl again. Oh no, so I need to lead him somewhere over here. It's the fact that here it's kind of not too bad, but there's a couple of sections later on where you really have to trek a fair way to solve a puzzle to get something new, and then with that new material you've got, head all the way back to get something again. So that kind of feels a little bit irritating. It's like, I know it's trying to get you to drink in this pop-up scenario. I love the fact that just now that I'm on the edge of this screen, you can see the room beyond the book. I love little visual touches like that. It's just, it's a little bit irritating, especially when you think of something like how Yearwalk and Device 6, how Simogo kind of took the point-and-click adventure game genre, but made it condensed so that you could enjoy it in a single sitting on your phone quite easily, where backtracking was done very, very quickly. But here's an example of the kind of puzzles we have in Tengami. So obviously my progress is barred by these finicky wolves here. So what I want to do is silence them with these wind chimes. So I go from the smallest to the biggest. And they all fall asleep. So yay, I did it. Remember, of course, people, that some wolves are small, while some are far away. So now I can advance. Hooray! So now I'm free to move on to the next area where those wolves were before. And I'm sorry for whatever reason my computer's being an absolute pisser and not really playing well with the iPhone audio here, so you can't hear some of the fantastic music. I'll splice in a little bit of it here, shall we? I'll shut up for a bit and you can just listen to some music. Sounds quite good, that, doesn't it? I hope I have managed to find some music in the meantime. But yeah, it's. I think it's one of those games that it looks phenomenal, it sounds phenomenal, and it's interesting in a way. I think where you have a point-and-click adventure, the likes of, say, The Walking Dead, it's a game where gameplay is reasonably thin, but it's a means to get you to explore this story and a narrative. And I think in Tengami, it's more the point-and-clicking is a means to get you to look at the art here and just to look at it and listen to it, and that's the attraction here. And it does look glorious and it does sound fantastic. But yeah, gameplay-wise, a little bit thin on the ground. I mean, I think that the puzzle you just saw with the wolves is reasonably akin to what you're getting, and you know, there's some bits where you have to pay close attention to find some numbers and little details and whatnot, and that's kind of that gets interesting with the pop-up mechanics as well, because you'll be folding in and out little paper pieces, and you know, there'll be little details on the underside of pages as they turn, as they fold over, which is interesting. But there's nothing that really is too difficult. I mean, there's one part that I got completely stumped on, which I think was just a little. I still hold that it's because the game was a little bit obtuse, or was being a little bit obtuse for that one section. But yeah, there's nothing too difficult. It's more a case of using the gameplay as a means to experience the art, and there's nothing bad about that at all. But it does kind of mean that if you're a fan of, you know, sort of point-and-click adventures, or you were expecting something very heavy sort of gameplay-wise, I'm just sort of playing with these little flaps there, these little tags, and that's going to bring this seal back up so I can take it. Hooray! I found a crest piece. See, little bits of text like that I kind of feel are unnecessary and in a way sort of distracting from the experience they've put out. Yeah, it's not quite on the level of, say, a Sword and Sorcery in terms of involvement, and it's certainly not like a Telltale point-and-click adventure when it comes to story elements, but it is visually really interesting, and it is just relaxing. It's something to sort of take it easy with over an evening. It would be nice if there was more of it to that extent. I'll drag that in there and open that door. And then again, I can advance and turn the page. Always this page turning effect is really cool. Yeah, it would be nice if there was more of it, I think, and I think that's my main sort of slight disappointment, is that it ended really abruptly for me. But yeah, it's an interesting way to pass a couple of hours or so. So that's Tengami. There's a full written review on kaijupop.com by now. The game is out now as you're watching this on iOS, Wii U, and PC versions to follow. And yeah, Chris Charlton for kaijupop.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.